This is the Easter message to Nigerians by Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired the President of Nigeria, popularly known as Jubril al-Sudani, by the leader of IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course, IPOB members. I want us to go through and analyze the speech. Let us see if the speech addresses the issues on ground. Does it touch a little here and there about it? President Muhammadu Buhari's 2020 Easter message to Nigerians. He said, "I rejoice with our Christian brothers and sisters, as well as all Nigerians, on the occasion of the celebration of this year's Easter. This year's commemoration of Easter comes amid the grip with which COVID-19 has held the entire world. Unprecedented in living memory, majority of Christians have found themselves marking Easter in a subdued manner, away from the usual congregation in churches. This is unusual and very unfortunate. However, I wish to enjoin our Christian compatriots to rekindle their faith in Christ, who overcame persecution, sufferings, and displayed endurance, steadfastness, and above all, piety. Jesus Christ represented man's ability to withstand temporary pains in the hope of everlasting glory. I urge you to imbibe and live the values of humility, discipline, perseverance, sacrifice, and obedience which Jesus Christ demonstrated during his stay on earth. There is no better opportunity than now for all Christians in particular, and Nigerians in general, to remain faithful and hopeful that with intensified prayers backed by personal and collective responsibility, the nation shall pull through this most difficult trial. I have no doubt that if all stakeholders, individuals, and groups play their part to the fullest, as advised by our scientists and medical experts in confronting COVID-19, the inherent resilience and determination of our people will enable us to pull through. As I stated in my national broadcast on Sunday, March 29th, 2020, since there is currently no known vaccine against the virus, the best and the most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygiene and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. May I use this opportunity to commend the encouraging containment and ameliorating strategies put in place by members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. I am very much aware of the personal and collective inconveniences suffered by our people due to measures such as restrictions of movements and closure of business premises being a matter of life and death. These sacrifices are in everybody's interest to save our country from calamity. The welfare of our people is paramount. Accordingly, the most economically vulnerable in our communities will continue to be uppermost in our plans, and efforts will be made to supply them with basic means of survival. While we see the COVID-19 pandemic as a global challenge, this administration is not oblivious of the constant threat posed to our national security by terrorists and insurgents. They may take this opportunity to perpetrate attacks, but our armed forces and other security and intelligence services will remain vigilant and continue to contain these threats and consolidate efforts to eradicate them completely. As we mark this year's Easter, whatever the circumstances, I encourage you to make the most of the situation and to keep safe. I wish you all happy Easter. Muhammadu Buhari, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is dated April 3rd, 2020. I think the person that wrote this speech did a little bit of work here, unlike some other previous speech that we often hear from Buhari. He has touched on some few points here. So, guys, what do you think are the points that you expected Buhari to have talked about? We all know that they are sharing some amount of money, 5,000 naira per month, and they say they are going to give 4 months upward, or is it 2 months upward? And some people are complaining and they are saying, if you're going to give 2 months upward, if you are giving us 20,000 naira for 4 months, you should be able to give us extra 10,000. That is for the 2 month upward. That is what some are coming up with. And the money first was shared in the northern part of in the FCT, we'll call that the middle of Nigeria, maybe. That's the first place that they started the sharing of money in one local government. And ever since then, they've been going around sharing the money. In fact, it is said that the money is also shared in the southeast of Nigeria, in Anambra State, in one of the local government. But people are saying that text messages are being sent by NCDC, making use of the telecommunication company. And they also claim that with this, they expect that the federal government should be able to share this money in a better and more efficient manner rather than what we have at the moment. So I have looked and I felt that they are not doing it efficiently. What are the indices? What are the indices that they have looked at? Where is the data? How were they able to come up with data? How were they able to come up with that digit, that number? How were they able to come up with this? Now, one would have said this is going to be easier if the local government are true, meaning with the local government are the ones that's the part of the government that is closer to the people, to the grassroots. With this, they can actually get information, but then we know that it's not true. They are not truthful. They will definitely add up numbers that are not the numbers that are not even in the that are people that do not exist. They will come up with imaginary numbers, come up with ghost digits, numbers, and they are going to come up with those and do whatever they want to do, all because they need to make money out of this. Recently, we heard that the office of the Accountant General in Abuja got burnt down because the office was asked about the names, amount, how did they come up with these digits? And all of a sudden, the place got burnt down. And they said they need experts to check what has gone or what has not been burnt or destroyed. Now, that shows that they are corrupt in and out. That's just it. They are soaked in corruption. They drink corruption. They sleep in corruption. They smell corruption. Everything they bathe with corruption. That's just it. And it's simply stealing. Corruption might sound like a very dignified, criminal name, but they are thieves, low-life thieves, nothing more, oppressing the people. So people complained, and I also looked at it and I said, why is it that in Nigeria we do not have a reliable database, a database that you can connect with and you will get informations about people, their status, health status, their economic status, if they are working or not, their marital status and all of that. Why don't we have this? If they are alive, if they are dead, why don't we have all of this so that the government can be able to come up with proper social planning for the people? In the case such as this, they will be able to come up with measures to cushion the effect of any situation that we are in. I don't know why Nigeria, being a giant as they claim they are, with all the resources, they are unable to do this. It's so sad. With the professors that we have all over Nigeria, I'm even wondering if the it's like the thing is so cumbersome, it is too much more than them. That's because they are not ready to break ranks. They are not ready to break the backbone of the oppressors, of the people that have decided to keep the system the way it is. How easy is this? I've looked at several ways that we can work this out and, do the needful, do the right thing and cut the red tapes and cut the difficulties that surround this issue of Nigerians having an ID card that you can work with. I'm talking of an ID card that is reliable, an ID card that it won't be an ID card of someone that is dead and yet they are collecting money from the government. We are talking of a system that works, a system that you can actually use to actually solve problems, stuff like that. And I was thinking of a way. I said this group of criminals that we have in Nigeria, they might be too smart. If the government is coming up with ideas of let us have a database and have informations of people here and there, I think they can start this with using a trick, because the people in the north are the people I do not trust, and some other people in the south too. Some of them are also part of this. How can we get people to register their informations? There are two ways. First, we have to look at certain people that are non-Nigerians, maybe from Niger, Chad, and some other countries that might want to take this opportunity to become a citizen in Nigeria. So how do we solve this? How do we work this out? How do we start from the north? How do we get this information? Start breaking away from Nigeria. How do you think we work this? I thought of two ways. I said first they can start with a particular age group, and this age group will, let's say the older people from 150, if they are still alive, down to 60. This group of people will be made to first register themselves. And the hospitals, in fact, the government will frown against anyone burying anybody in their home, like how people do. You cannot bury anybody without permission. There will be an agency that goes around to make sure that people don't bury people. Because just imagine, anybody can be buried anywhere, and you never even know that the person is dead. Yet the government will keep paying the person. So how can the government solve all of this if they are not going to work, towards the burial issue? Who is dead, who is not dead, who is not registered, all of that? It's very easy. All the government needs to do is to make sure that every year, one way or the other, people are made to re-register themselves to make sure that the database is reliable. So every year, the government will do like a kind of checkup on it. People will come, to fingerprint themselves, if that's the technology they want to use, or they use the iris. They can use the scanner that can, penetrate and get the print of your eyes, and that's it. And they can use this, to always make sure that the database is reliable. Every time they need information from it, you always know who is alive, who is dead, who is a single mother. All this information should now become digital rather than the analog system that we have. In fact, we don't even have analog. We don't have any. The only way they are able to connect people NCDC is by phone numbers. In fact, they are sending phone numbers to some people that are no longer even using the SIM card any longer. So I think first, if they can deal with this, everybody is documented. Everyone has their information recorded in a database that no one is going to manipulate. With this, everything you do, if you go to the bank, if you're a single mother, if you just give birth to children, all these things will be documented immediately. With this, problems will be solved. So that is what I am thinking. I don't know what you are thinking of this, what solutions you have. Probably you are involved in tech. Probably you are involved in town planning. You are involved in, social, management and all of that. You are abroad. You are in Africa. You're in Nigeria. What do you think about this? How do you think we can solve this issue aside the breaking away? That is what I am actually looking into, because the issue of sharing money and all of this, government talking about things that are not actually getting to the people. They are talking about the vulnerable people. How are they able to connect the vulnerable people? Are they going to just look at the people in the villages and say they are the vulnerable? There are people in the cities that are vulnerable. They don't have money. So I want you guys to look into this also, and let's find a solution around this. What would you have done better? What are the solutions you would have given if you are given that position, or if you are asked to come up with strategies and solutions to put these things right?